Hello and welcome to episode 5 of Project Delta. I just want to start this episode off with a bit of a sorry. So, this episode is being uploaded a day late on uh, March 14th as opposed to March 13th. I kind of just got scared of March 13th because it was Friday the 13th and it's spooky and it spooked me and I didn't want to upload. So, that's the reason. No other reason. Definitely not. Yeah, I got spooked. Um, Anyways, this episode is going to be about making sure you read your contracts before you sign them. If you don't read your contracts, then you might get screwed over later, and that's not fun. Make sure that if there's anything that has to do with payment ever, especially like payment for milestones or something like that, there's not some silly clause in there that says the payment of those milestones rests solely on the employer, because that would be stupid. That's a stupid clause, and if you hit a milestone, you should be able to get paid for that because you worked for that milestone. And it would be very stupid if that wasn't the case. This can go on both ends, by the way, as well. If you're the employer, you want to make sure that you adhere to that contract and you pay the employee what it says in their contract. For example, if it says in the contract that they should be paid PTO after they no longer work at the company, don't try and back out and not pay them PTO, or else they will sue you. They will. They will. Sound good? Yeah, so read through your contracts and make sure you read through your own contracts as well before giving them to everybody. And just, stick to a contract, because a contract is also like a promise. And if you back out on that promise, that just leaves a bad taste in everyone's mouth, especially if you then try and give a stupid excuse for the reason why you backed out on that contract. Because, if the worker did the work, they deserve to get paid for said work. This is all theoretical, of course. This is all theoretical. This is a PSA to everyone to just read the contracts, read every little bit of it, and make sure there are no stupid clauses in there. You just want to make sure that the deal is fair and well known and everybody adheres to it, because if not, then it's just going to not be fun for anyone. And I don't think anybody really wants to sue anyone else, So, just stick to the contract and be a good person. That's such a novel concept, I know. But sometimes that doesn't happen, so make sure that you read a contract before you sign it. And also, when you're looking for somewhere to work, make sure that they're a good place to work. Talk to employees. Maybe if you're taking the job of someone else, talk to them and ask them hey, what's your experience here? Did you have any problems? And if they tell you of any problems, if you haven't signed the contract yet, make sure that you fit things into the contract to make sure that you can, that doesn't happen to you. Because if not, then, you might work there for a while and then all of a sudden they just want to screw you over after you leave despite all the work you put in. That wouldn't be fun. So just reading a contract is very important. And also, don't be afraid to ask for changes to a contract, because if they want to hire you, then they should be willing to adjust the contract to fit everything for everyone. And adjusting a contract isn't too hard. You can find numerous videos on it, but it could literally be as easy as just copying and pasting it into another document, just changing the text, making sure to highlight any changed text and then sending it back, or printing it out, crossing through parts that you want to change, and then sending it back to them. Typically, they'll have maybe an HR team, or they'll be able to edit the original document to make sure everything's good. And it's just not really that big a deal if you want to try changing a contract. And if you're worried about legal jargon and stuff, they'll be able to take care of that usually. So just make sure that you just are good with that. This applies more to smaller companies as well, by the way, because if you're working at a larger company, unless it's a managerial role, or you already know the company before you sign the contract, then they're less likely to approve any changes, especially if you're like, gonna go work for McDonald's or something. Typically, they're just gonna give you the worst contract ever anyways and pay you like 2 cents for like everything. So just, you know, be like mindful of that. This is more for like if you're about to work for like a small business or something, just make sure you know the terms of everything before you start working there, because it will save you a headache later and it'll save you a lot of just figuring stuff out. But also the other important thing to know is if the contract is violated afterwards, just know your rights as well. Oh, and make sure that those rights are specific to your like state or country or anything, because most of that stuff is, at least in the US, so this is going to be US specifically, it can be very different depending on what state you're in. So, for example, the state I'm in, Florida, doesn't specifically require paid time off. There's no minimum paid time off, and you aren't required to. Or, okay, I'm actually that one might be incorrect, but you're at least not required to pay the employee any like saved up PTO when they leave. However, if that's included in the contract and they break that contract, then that is breach of contract and you can sue them for that. But also, most of the time, you don't even actually need to sue. Typically, just bringing that up in general is enough to like let the company know, hey, I'm not messing around. Take this seriously. And typically, it's not worth the hassle to them. Because a lot of the time, it's probably not going to be a crazy amount of money. If it's anything like over a few $1,000s, then they might like consider fighting it in court if they have a case. But if you've read through the contract and you have like everything, like all of the documents that prove that, hey, this happened, then most of the time you can just send that to them and be like, hey, here's all the proof. I'll win in court, and that'll be enough. If they end up like trying to take it to court or something, then yeah, that's up to you. But like 9 times out of 10, it's not going to get that far. So just keep that in mind and like know your rights to like know what actions to take, and just don't be afraid to like use the law, because the law is there to protect you. It is there to protect like everyone, both employee and employer. Like you don't want an employee just breaking a contract as well and saying, oh, well, I was working all this time, pay me all this money. And if you have proof that they weren't doing that, then, the contract is there for you to like help. So just keep that in mind, know your rights, and the law is there for you. It's not just there for like big companies or to like try and keep you down. It is there to help you. All right, next episode will be on March 16th at 5 p.m. and this time it will actually be at that time. Sorry again. All right, anyways, hope you enjoyed the episode. Read your contracts. Bye.